The conference hall smelled of expensive perfume and ambition. She adjusted the microphone, her hands steady, despite the 100 pairs of eyes watching her. "Architecture isn't just about buildings," she said, her voice cutting through the murmur. "It's about creating spaces where broken people can become whole again." At the back of the room, he stopped scrolling through his phone. Something in her voice made his chest tighten. After her presentation, he found her by the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. "Your work," he said. "It's personal, isn't it?" She turned, recognizing him instantly. The billionaire CEO. The man whose face graced magazine covers. "Everything I do is personal," she replied, studying him. Behind his expensive suit and practiced smile, she saw something familiar. Pain, carefully hidden. "I have a proposal." "Ice." He stepped closer. "I'm building a private wellness resort. I need someone who understands trauma. Someone who can create what you described." "Why?" She held his gaze. "You don't strike me as someone who believes in healing." His jaw tightened. "Maybe I want to learn." The air between them crackled with unspoken tension. "Dinner," he said. "Tonight. Let's discuss the project." She should have said no. Every instinct warned her that this man was dangerous, not because of his power, but because of the way he looked at her, like he saw past every wall she'd built. One dinner, she agreed. That dinner turned into 3 weeks of late-night calls. Stolen moments between meetings and conversations that went far beyond architecture. He told her about his empire, the relentless drive that fueled him. She shared her vision, her belief that spaces could save lives, but he never told her why he really needed this resort. 1 month later, on a rooftop under a blanket of stars, he kissed her. It was desperate, hungry, like a man drowning and finally finding air. "I don't deserve you," he whispered against her lips. "Then earn me," she breathed back. 3 months after that, he got down on one knee in the very conference hall where they'd met. "Marry me," he said, his voice raw with emotion. "Help me become the man I'm supposed to be." She said yes, tears streaming down her face. Believing that love could conquer anything, the wedding was intimate, elegant. 50 guests in a garden lit by thousands of candles. She wore ivory silk. He couldn't take his eyes off her. "I love you," he vowed, sliding the ring onto her finger. "Nothing will ever come between us." She believed him. That night in the penthouse suite, overlooking the glittering city, she found him on the balcony. His shoulders were rigid, his hands gripping the railing. "Hey," she whispered, wrapping her arms around him from behind. "What's wrong?" He didn't turn around. "There's something I need to tell you." His voice was hollow. "Something I should have told you months ago." Her heart began to race. He turned, and she saw tears on his face for the first time. "I built that resort," he said, his voice breaking because I'm the reason it's needed. 5 years ago, I caused an accident. A car crash. 3 people died, including a child. The world tilted. I was driving drunk, he continued, each word like shattered glass. I used my money, my lawyers, everything to make it disappear. No one knows. No one except you now? She stepped back. Her hand over her mouth. "You let me design a healing center," she whispered. Her voice shaking with fury and betrayal while you were running from the people you destroyed. "I'm sorry," he choked out. "I wanted to tell you, but I was afraid I'd lose you. I love you, please." She stared at the man she'd married, seeing him clearly for the first time. "I don't know who you are," she said, her voice cold. She walked toward the door. "Wait," his voice cracked. "Where are you going?" She looked back, her eyes blazing with tears and rage.
"I'll wait for you."
She didn't go home. Instead, she drove for hours, the city lights blurring through her tears. At dawn, she found herself at the construction site of the wellness resort. Their project. Their lie. The framework stood skeletal against the pink sky, a monument to her naivety. Her phone buzzed relentlessly. 43 missed calls. 27 texts. "Please talk to me. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I love you." She threw the phone into her bag. For 3 days, she stayed at a friend's apartment, ignoring the world. The news broke on day 4. Billionaire CEO's dark past exposed. The headlines screamed from every screen. Someone had leaked it. Every detail he'd confessed to her was now public. The accident. The cover-up. The families he'd destroyed. Her phone rang. An unknown number? Hello? Is this her? A woman's voice, raw with grief. The architect married to him? Who is this? Sarah Mitchell. My daughter was 6 years old when he killed her. The air left the room. Need you to know something, Sarah continued, her voice trembling. We never got justice. He paid everyone off. The police, the lawyers, even the media. My baby's death meant nothing because he had money. Guilt crashed over her in waves. I'm so sorry. I didn't know, but you do now. Sarah's voice hardened. What are you going to do about it? The call ended. She sat in the silence, Sarah's question echoing in her mind. Then she picked up her phone and dialed. It's me, she said when he answered. His voice was hoarse, broken. Thank God. I thought I'd never hear from you again. Meet me at the resort site, she said. 1 hour, I'll be there. He arrived before her, standing in the center of the empty space, looking smaller than she'd ever seen him. His suit was wrinkled. He hadn't slept. You leaked it yourself, she said. Not a question. Didn't you? He nodded slowly. After you left, I realized I couldn't keep running. I called a journalist. Told them everything. Why? Because you were right. He met her eyes. I was using this place, using you, to feel better about myself without actually facing what I'd done. That's not healing. That's cowardice. She wanted to stay angry, but something in his devastation made her pause. The families, she said. Sarah Mitchell called me. His face crumpled. I know their names. All of them. I see their faces every night. Then why did you hide it? Because I was terrified. His voice cracked. Terrified of going to prison, of losing everything, of being seen as the monster I am. So I became a bigger monster. I silenced them with money. You can't buy redemption. I know. He took a shaky breath. That's why I'm turning myself in. Tomorrow, my lawyers tried to stop me, but I'm done running. She wasn't prepared for that. You'll go to prison, she said quietly. I should have gone 5 years ago. They stood in silence. The morning sun casting long shadows across the concrete. I didn't come here to stop you, she finally said. I came to tell you I'm leaving. Filing for annulment. This project, us, it's all built on lies. I understand. Out. But I also came to tell you something else. Out. What you did was unforgivable. Those families deserve justice, and you deserve punishment. But the fact that you're finally facing it, that means something. Does it? His voice was hollow. I don't know yet. She turned to leave, then stopped. There's a hearing next week. For the families. Your lawyers arranged a private settlement meeting before the criminal charges proceed. I know. I'll be there, she said. Not for you. For them? His eyes widened. Why would you do that? Because I helped you build this escape? I need to face them too. She walked away, leaving him standing alone in the space they'd dreamed of together. That night, she received an email. Attached were financial documents. He'd liquidated half his assets, setting up trust funds for each family. No lawyers. No strings. Just money and a letter apologizing for how long it had taken. She stared at the screen. Out. Her emotions a tangled mess. Her phone buzzed. A text from him. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm asking you to let me try to do the right thing. Even if it's too late. She didn't respond. The hearing arrived. She sat in the back of the conference room, watching as he faced the families. Sarah Mitchell was there, her husband beside her. I can't give you back what I took, he said, his voice steady, despite the tears on his face. I can't undo the pain, but I can stop hiding. I can stop letting money shield me from consequences. I'm pleading guilty to all charges. No deals? The room was silent. Sarah stood. She walked toward him slowly, her eyes blazing. Then she slapped him across the face. That's for my daughter. He didn't flinch. "You don't get to feel better about this," Sarah said, her voice shaking. "You don't get redemption, but you'll finally face what you did. That's something." Security let him out. His eyes found hers across the room, and for the first time since their wedding night, she didn't look away. 8 months later, she stood outside the state correctional facility, her hands clutching a visitor's pass. She'd told herself she wouldn't come. The annulment was finalized. The resort project had been transformed into a memorial center, managed by the victims' families. She'd moved on, except she hadn't. The visiting room smelled of industrial cleaner and desperation. She sat at a metal table, her heart hammering. Then he walked in. Prison had hollowed him out. His expensive suits were replaced by a gray jumpsuit. His once confident stride was measured careful, but his eyes, when they met hers, held something new. Clarity. "You came," he said, sitting down slowly. "I almost didn't." She'd asked herself that question for weeks. "I don't know. Maybe because I need to understand something." What? If people can really change, or if we just tell ourselves they can. He leaned back, a sad smile touching his lips. "I've had a lot of time to think about that. 8 months in here feels like years. What have you learned?" "That I was drowning long before the accident." His voice was quiet, raw. "My father built an empire and taught me that power meant never showing weakness. When my mother died, he didn't cry at the funeral. He closed a business deal instead. That's what I learned. Bury everything. Achieve more. Feel nothing. That doesn't excuse what you did." "No, it doesn't." He met her eyes. "But it explains why I ran. I didn't know how to face pain. Mine or anyone else's. And now I face it every day. Sarah Mitchell writes me letters. Angry letters. She tells me about her daughter, about what I took from the world. I read every word. Something shifted in her chest. Why does she write to you? She says she needs me to carry it. The weight of what I did. Says that's my sentence even more than these walls. She right? Yes. He paused. There's something else. I've been working with the prison counselor, helping design a rehabilitation program. Using what I learned from you about spaces that heal. Despite everything, she felt a flicker of pride. You remember what I taught you? Every word. His voice softened. You changed how I see the world. Even if you can't forgive me, I need you to know that. Silence stretched between them, heavy, with everything unsaid. I brought something, she said finally, reaching into her bag. She pulled out a folder. Letters. From the families, his hands trembled as he took them. They're not all angry, she continued. Some are, but others are asking questions. They want to understand. Sarah's husband wrote that seeing you accept responsibility gave him something he didn't expect. What? Closure. Not forgiveness. But closure. He opened the first letter, his eyes scanning the words. She watched emotions flicker across his face. Pain. Guilt. Something that might have been hope. There's more, she said. The Memorial Center opens next month. They want you to record a video message. To be played at the opening. Why would they want that? Because your story is part of theirs now. They want people to understand the real cost of drunk driving. Not just statistics. Human consequences. He looked at her, really looked at her, and she saw the man she'd fallen for. But different. Broken open. Will you be there? He asked, at the opening. I'm designing the final wing. A children's garden. For the daughter Sarah lost. His eyes filled with tears. That's beautiful. It's necessary. The guard called time. As he stood, he hesitated. Can I ask you something? What? Do you hate me? She considered the question carefully. No, I hate what you did, but you. I think I'm starting to see who you actually are. Not who you pretended to be. Is that better or worse? I don't know yet. He nodded slowly, then turned to leave. Wait, she called out. He looked back. I'll come again. Next month. Something flickered in his eyes. Not hope exactly, but something close. I'd like that. As she drove away from the prison, her phone rang. Unknown number? Hello? This is Detective Sarah Chen. I'm investigating your husband's case. There's something you need to know. Our blood ran cold. What? The leak? The one that exposed his past. It didn't come from him. What do you mean? He told me he called a journalist. He did. But the story broke 2 days before that call. Someone else leaked it first. The world tilted. Who? That's what I need to talk to you about. Can you come to my office? An hour later, she sat across from the detective, watching security footage on a laptop. This is from the night of your wedding, Detective Chen said. Your husband's business partner, Marcus Reed, accessing his private office. The footage showed Marcus at a computer, downloading files. Marcus leaked it. She couldn't process it. We think so. He shorted your husband's company stock days before the story broke. Made $20 million when the shares crashed. Betrayal, sharp and cold, cut through her. That's why my husband confessed publicly after, she whispered. He knew it was already out there. He was trying to control the narrative. Exactly. But there's more.
Ow.
The detective pulled out another file. Marcus Reed has been embezzling from the company for 3 years. Your husband was about to discover it. The leak was meant to destroy him first. She sat back, her mind reeling. Does he know? My husband. Not yet. I wanted to tell you first. You're still legally his wife until the annulment is final. She stared at the evidence, a terrible realization dawning. Marcus set him up to take a fall. But my husband actually was guilty, which makes this complicated. What happens now? That depends on you. You can press charges against Marcus for fraud. Or you can walk away. She thought about the man in prison, carrying the weight of his crimes. The family's finding closure. The memorial center rising from ashes. What would you do? She asked. Detective Chen met her eyes. I'd ask myself what justice really means. Is it punishment? Accountability? Or something more? She left the police station with the file in her hands and a choice that would define everything that night. She returned to the prison. She sat across from him in the emergency visiting room. The file between them on the table. Marcus betrayed you, she said without preamble. His face went still. What? She slid the file across. He leaked your past. He's been embezzling. He shorted your stock and made millions when you fell. He opened the file with shaking hands, his eyes scanning the evidence. She watched his expression shift from shock to rage to something darker. That son of a bitch. His voice was ice. We built that company together. 20 years. There's more. The detective says you have grounds to sue. Maybe even reduce your sentence if you cooperate with their investigation into corporate fraud. He looked up sharply. Reduce my sentence? Yes. For a long moment, he just stared at the papers. Then he closed the file and pushed it back across the table. No, what? I'm not using this to get out early. Are you insane? She leaned forward. Marcus destroyed you. He deserves to pay. You're right. He does. His jaw was tight. But that doesn't change what I did. 3 people are dead because of me. Using Marcus's betrayal to reduce my sentence would be just another way of running. That's not the same thing, isn't it? His eyes met hers, intense. I spent 5 years hiding behind money and lawyers. I'm not going to hide behind his crimes now. I deserve to be here. She wanted to scream at him. Instead, she said quietly, what about justice for what he did to you? Then press charges. Testify, but leave me out of it. Why? Because for the first time in my life, I'm facing consequences. Real consequences. And as much as it kills me to be in here, it's changing me. I can't explain it, but something is breaking open that needed to break. She stared at him. This man who'd lied to her, married her with secrets, and now refused an escape route. You're different, she said softly. Prison will do that. No, she shook her head. It's more than that. You're becoming who you pretended to be. The man I thought I married. His expression cracked. Don't say that. Why not? Because it gives me hope. And I don't deserve hope. Maybe that's not your decision to make. The words hung between them, dangerous and electric. What are you saying? He whispered. She didn't know. She'd come here angry, ready to tell him about Marcus and leave. But sitting across from him now, seeing the man he was becoming, she felt something shift inside her. I'm saying I don't know anymore. I don't know if I can forgive you. I don't know if we can ever be what we were. But I also don't know if I want to completely let go. You should, he said hoarsely. You should let go and never look back. Because I'm in here for 3 more years minimum. Because I destroyed people's lives. Because you deserve someone who didn't start your marriage with a lie. Stop telling me what I deserve. Someone has to. She stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. You want to know what I deserve? I deserve to make my own choices. And right now, I'm choosing to visit you. I'm choosing to bring you those letters. I'm choosing to tell you about the Memorial Center. Why? His voice broke. Because despite everything, I still see something in you worth fighting for. Even if you don't see it yourself, tears slid down his face. I love you. I never stopped. I know. Her voice was barely a whisper. That's what makes this so hard. She left before he could respond, her heart thundering in her chest. Outside, she sat in her car and called Detective Chen. I'm pressing charges against Marcus Reed, she said, but my husband doesn't want any deals. He wants to serve his full sentence. That's unusual. He's an unusual man. 3 months later, Marcus was arrested. The news exploded. Billionaire's business partner exposed in massive fraud scheme. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. She focused on the Memorial Center, pouring herself into the final designs. The children's garden became her obsession, every detail perfect. Sarah Mitchell visited the site regularly and slowly, painfully. They became something like friends. You didn't have to do this, Sarah said one afternoon, walking through the half-built garden. Yes, I did. Because of him? Because of her. Your daughter. She deserved a life. This is the only thing I can give her now. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. The center opened on a cold November morning. Hundreds of people came. Victims' families, survivors, advocates. The video message played on screens throughout the space. His face appeared gaunt but clear-eyed. My name is James, he said, his voice steady. 5 years ago, I drove drunk and killed 3 people. For 5 years, I ran from that truth. I used money and power to hide. But hiding doesn't change what happened. It doesn't bring back the lives I took. The room was silent. I'm in prison now, where I should have been from the beginning. This center exists because the families I destroyed chose to turn their pain into something that helps others. I don't deserve their grace, but I'm grateful for it. If you're watching this and you've made mistakes, terrible mistakes like mine, I'm asking you not to run. Face what you've done. It won't fix it, but it's the only path forward. The video ended. Sarah stood and spoke, her voice trembling but strong. He took my daughter from me. Nothing can change that. But watching him finally take responsibility, watching him help create this place, it gave me something I didn't expect. Not forgiveness, but peace. The knowledge that her death meant something, that other families might be spared this pain. After the ceremony, she found herself alone in the children's garden. Autumn leaves scattered across the paths she'd designed. In the center, a fountain burbled softly, inscribed with the names of those who died. Her phone buzzed. A text from the prison. He's asking for you. Says it's urgent. She drove through the night, arriving at dawn. The guard led her to the infirmary. What happened? She demanded.
Assault.
Another inmate. He protected someone. She found him in bed, his face bruised, wrapped. You idiot, she breathed, sitting beside him. There was a kid, he said through split lips. 18, first offense, terrified. 3 guys were going to hurt him. I couldn't just watch, so you got yourself nearly killed. I've spent my whole life watching and doing nothing. Not anymore. She took his hand, carefully avoiding the bruises. The center opened today, she said softly. I know. They let me watch the live stream. Your garden is perfect. Sarah spoke. About you. What did she say? that you gave her peace. He closed his eyes, tears leaking from beneath his lashes. I need to tell you something, she said. The annulment. I stopped it. His eyes flew open. What? I can't explain it. But somewhere between hating you and visiting you and watching you become this person, I realized I'm not ready to let go. You should be. Stop telling me what I should do. He laughed, then winced. Fair point. She leaned closer, her voice fierce. You have 2 more years in here. When you get out, we're going to figure this out. Whatever this is, that's a long time to wait, and it's a good thing I'm patient. He pulled her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles gently. I don't deserve you. No, she agreed. You don't, but maybe that's not the point anymore. 27 months later, she stood outside the prison gates. Waiting. The morning was cold, frost glittering on the chain-link fence. Other families clustered nearby, their breath forming clouds in the air. She'd dressed simply, jeans and a coat, nothing like the elegant woman who'd walked away from her wedding suite. She was different now. They both were. The gates opened. Men filed out, clutching plastic bags with their belongings. And then she saw him. He'd put on weight, healthy weight. His hair was longer, gray touching his temples. When his eyes found hers, his whole face transformed. She walked toward him slowly, her heart in her throat. Hi, she said. Hi. His voice was rough with emotion. They stood there. 2 people who'd been strangers, then lovers, then strangers again, trying to figure out what they were now. I have something to show you, she said. She drove them to the memorial center. It had grown in 2 years. New wings, new programs, thousands of lives touched. They walked through the children's garden in silence. The trees had grown taller. The fountain still sang with the names of the lost. It's beautiful, he said quietly. Sarah helped design the new wing, a program for drunk driving offenders. Mandatory counseling, restorative justice circles, the works. She's incredible. She wants to meet you. Today, if you're ready. He stopped walking. I don't know if I can face her. You've been writing to each other for 2 years. That's different. Words on paper. But looking her in the eye, knowing what I took from her, she took his hand. She knows, and she's still asking to see you. Sarah waited in the meditation room, surrounded by windows overlooking the garden. When they entered, she stood. The moment stretched, painful and electric. Hello, James? Sarah said. Mrs. Mitchell. His voice broke. I'm so sorry. I will be sorry every day for the rest of my life. I know. She stepped forward. I've spent 2 years angry. 2 years writing you letters full of rage. Do you know what I realized? What? That holding on to that anger was killing me as surely as you killed my daughter. So I'm letting it go. I don't deserve that. This isn't about what you deserve. Her voice was firm, but not unkind. It's about what I need. And I need to move forward. That doesn't mean I forgive you. It means I'm choosing not to let you destroy the rest of my life too. He nodded. Tears streaming down his face. But I need something from you, Sarah continued. Anything. Promise me you'll spend the rest of your life making sure this never happens to another family. Work in this center. Tell your story. Make Emma's death count for something. I promise, he whispered. Sarah held out her hand. He took it, and they stood there, 2 people bound by tragedy, finding a fragile, imperfect peace. Later, she drove him to her apartment. The place she'd lived alone for nearly 3 years. I kept your things, she said, unlocking the door. I told myself I was being practical, that it was easier than throwing them away. But that wasn't true. He looked around the space, seeing traces of their life together mixed with the new life she'd built. Photos from the memorial center. Architecture models. But also, tucked in a corner, their wedding photo. You kept it, he said, picking up the frame. I kept a lot of things I probably shouldn't have. Why? She turned to face him, her eyes fierce and vulnerable all at once. Because even when I hated you, even when I wanted to forget you existed, I couldn't. This whole nightmare changed me. I understand trauma now, in a way I never did. My work is better because of it. I'm better because of it. That shouldn't have come at such a cost. No, it shouldn't have. But it did. And we can either spend the rest of our lives wishing things were different, or we can figure out how to live with what is. He set down the photo and crossed to her. What is this? What are we? I don't know. Not what we were. Maybe something new. Something honest? I'm not the man you married. Good, I didn't like him very much. He laughed, a real laugh, and pulled her close. She went to him, fitting against his chest like coming home. I love you, he said into her hair. I never stopped, even when I should have. I love you too. Even though it makes no sense. What do we do now? She pulled back to look at him. We start over. No secrets. No running. We do the work, real work. Therapy, accountability, all of it. I want that. And you work at the center. Every day. You face what you did, I will. If it gets too hard, if either of us can't handle it, we're honest about that too. Agreed. She kissed him then. Soft and careful, tasting salt from tears she didn't know she'd cried. It wasn't the desperate kiss from their first night. It was something deeper, earned. 6 months later, they stood in a children's garden, surrounded by people who'd become family. Sarah was there, her husband beside her. The families of the other victims. Staff from the center. Detective Chen, who'd become an unexpected friend. She held his hand as the new wing opened. Dedicated to Emma Mitchell and the others who'd died. He cut the ribbon, his hands steady. This doesn't erase anything, he said to the gathered crowd. It doesn't bring them back. But it honors them, and it helps ensure their deaths weren't meaningless. Later, as the sun set and people filtered away, she found him sitting by the fountain. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I was just thinking about that night, our wedding night. How everything fell apart. And I'm grateful for it. She raised an eyebrow. That's a strange thing to be grateful for. Not the pain I caused. Never that. But the fact that it all came out, that I had to face it. If Marcus hadn't leaked it, if you hadn't found out, I'd still be running. We'd have built a life on lies, and eventually it would have destroyed us both. She sat beside him, lacing her fingers through his. So what you're saying is, the worst night of your life led to the best version of you? Something like that, smiled, sad and real. Is that too optimistic? Maybe, but I think we've earned a little optimism. They sat in silence as stars began to appear overhead. Two imperfect people who'd found each other in the wreckage, who'd learned that love wasn't about perfection or forgiveness or even redemption. It was about showing up. Every day. Doing the work. Facing the truth, and sometimes, if you were very lucky, that was enough. He squeezed her hand. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for becoming someone worth not giving up on. Do you think we'll make it? Long term? She looked at him, this man who'd broken her heart and somehow put it back together differently, better. I think we'll try. And maybe that's all anyone can promise. I can live with that. So can I. They walked out of the garden together, past the names carved in stone, past the flowers planted in memory, into whatever came next. Behind them, the fountain sang on. A reminder that even in the darkest moments, there could be light. That broken things could be repurposed into something beautiful. That the end of one story could be the beginning of another, and that sometimes, love wasn't about the perfect beginning. It was about the courage to keep choosing each other. Even when the path was hard, even when forgiveness felt impossible, even when the only way forward was through the pain, they had found something rare, something real, not a fairy tale, but something better. Truth, the end.